Everybody, Scout Crafter here again. Today we have a special edition, a UK edition for my friends in the United Kingdom. Really appreciate your support over the other side of the pond. And we have a nice set of pliers that I got just for you guys. So let's get started. Okay, so today's pliers for my friends in the UK are these. You can see here it says made in England. And the only markings I have is FT53. Thinking maybe the 53 is possibly the year it was made. These look like FT. I don't know if there is a manufacturer in England. This is where my buddies in the UK will come in handy. It could be, these look like a King Dick pattern. King Dick is a manufacturer, tool manufacturer in England. But let's take a look at these, what we're going to do with them. These are 6-inch model or 152 millimeters in the UK. And you can see these are quite a common style back there, and they need a little bit of work. But you can tell it's a good steel. And England always had good steel, especially like Sheffield and things like that. They had some good steel. And this one you could tell. It's a really, you could feel the density of it, the quality. You could tell it just by holding it. The pliers aren't loose. We should be able to fix them up. The edge, the cutting edge, you can see it's an anvil type cutter, so we have this flat side on this side, and this side here that's supposed to be sharp is a little bit damaged. And here's a piece of copper wire, and it will not cut. I'm squeezing it up and down. It cannot cut through this. It squeezes, it crimps it. So we're gonna have to address the cutters. We'll fix it up, clean it up, and let's get to it. Should be a fun restoration. Okay, it only took about 2 minutes to get all the paint off here. We have it paint free. Now we're going to do a quick wire brushing. Here's our post-wire brush evaluation, and this is going to be a nice cleanup. Everything is rust-free. We used the 2 different wire brushes. Now, here's what we're going to do. We want to sharpen it before we do any of the grinding on the belt sander. Now, this is a anvil type cutter again. If you look at this side, you see how thick that is, that cutter? Very thick there. That's the anvil, and here's the cutter. Now, that's supposed to be thin, but you could see we couldn't cut anything with that. So, what you want to do is you want to make this side a little bit sharper than the dullness that it is now. The problem is that you can't take any depth off here, because if you do, when you close this, if you see any light like that, you're not going to be able to cut anything, and the top jaws are going to close before you can. This should touch before the top jaws really get tight. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a Dremel tool, and using this stone, you see this is curved in here, we're going to just gently rub across here to try and keep that profile, and then we're going to take a file and go across this side and try and get that down to a point. Let's try that out. Now, we clamped the pliers down to a small piece of wood that's on the vise, and that exact angle here, we're going to duplicate with the file by looking down the side here until the file lays flat. When we get that file laying flat on that angle, we're going to gently run that file across it until we don't want to take too much material off. We just want to bring that to a sharp point. This is a very fine mill file, and you'll feel it because you won't have any resistance once you get all that burrs and everything off, and that's all it takes. Okay, we're done with the sharpening process, and you can see we just made it. We took that line down so that it's not super sharp, because remember, these were only meant for cutting copper, copper wire, things like that. But you could see how we kept the same contours. Remember, it wouldn't cut that copper wire before, but now you could see it cuts it nicely and cuts right through, no problem. So the sharpening really worked out. Before we could only crimp the wire, now we could cut right through it. So let's get finished with the restoration. Okay, we're very happy with the way they came out. Polish is all done. Now we got to do the paint. So now we're going to do the painstaking taping, which I'm really not a fan of. So let's get started with that. Now you remember my favorite part of the video. You remember what it looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. We did just a little bit of a, we kept that kind of satiny that I'm liking lately, that satiny finish with the clean. But you could see here, again, made in England. FT53 is the markings, don't know what that means. It's all lubricated, the jaws are all sharpened, cleaned up. Everything fits nice, you could see here. These are nice little pliers. Again, you know, 6-inch pliers. They're not that big. They're very thin. They're light-duty pliers. I couldn't get the exact green. I kind of like the other green better, but this is British Racing Green. And this is very close to what a lot of Stewart steam engines, things like that, had. It's a hunter green here, what we call. Again, it cuts very nicely with the sharpening, and it's a nice little pair of pliers. So I hope you enjoyed the restoration. Thanks very much for tuning in, and for all my British friends, I hope you can help us out and figure out where if these are King Dick pliers or whatever. Maybe you could help us out and figure out exactly what we have here. So thanks very much for tuning in. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.